hey, Phil, what do you think of JHS Not a Dumble Mistake video? So I didn't know much about it. I saw some of the patrons talking about it. So I listened to it. So if I get the situation correctly, the Not a Dumble pedal was made by mistake. In other words, there was two Dumble pedals they were referring off of. They ended up with the wrong one, so they had A and B pedals to deal with. Both were good. This is what I got from it. Two pedals, both are good. They thought they cloned the one. They actually cloned the other one. So now what they're going to do is blow out the rest of the original ones and then make a version of the new one. Stuff like that happens. I don't know. I don't know if it's, it's a good marketing. Did they do it on purpose, or is it, a mistake and they're just owning up to it? I don't know. I don't really have an opinion about it in any real form. I think about it and I'm like, I think what I've understand about pedals and my time on YouTube here, more so than anything else, is that pedals are all about more pedals. There's always another pedal, and there always will be another pedal every week. And I think JHS is becoming the master of the new pedal, always having a new pedal, always affordable, always kind of, I told the patrons this, I'll tell you this too. I can't tell you who. You'll try a guess. You'll be wrong no matter who you pick. I promise. Somebody who I know in this industry who makes pedals to some significant degree said that basically, this is years ago, that the key to success with pedals is always have a pedal out every 4 months, make sure it's affordable, and make sure there's a reason to buy it. And 90% of the sale is based on the name. Now, that was in passing, and it was a very cavalier kind of comment. And I'll even give you the context in what it was. They were talking about some of these goofier pedals out at the time, the pedals that make sound effects and stuff. And they were saying, and I said, who buys that? And they said, that's the secret, right? The secret is pedals are more of a marketing game than a legitimate product anymore. And so, I'm not throwing shade on that. That's how YouTube has turned into. That's how guitar companies have turned into. That's how social media has really changed the landscape. And the main reason is this. It's not only times are changing and things are happening, but you got to understand there used to be a thought out long process because of necessity, right? You want to release a new product, you have to develop the new product. And now what you have to do is think about the marketing costs. And I've said this before, marketing costs is one of the biggest costs to products. This is why I think JHS has been so successful. He's essentially created his own marketing. So therefore his marketing costs have been, to get the audience base that JHS can get on a pedal immediately without having to pay 50 YouTubers to do that. And I'm sure they're still, my understanding is they're still supporting YouTubers and doing it through YouTube too, but you understand they don't need it like they did before, where a lot of pedals companies, they got to pay out these channels. And I've said before, in my opinion on YouTube, for whatever it's worth, I've been on here almost a decade, the most of the money on YouTube is made through pedals. Like if I was going to focus on, company-sponsored content, I would absolutely focus on pedal companies because a YouTuber can sell a lot of impulse buy product. A lot of $200 things can be sold. So, if somebody pays you a couple $1,000 or $1,000 or even just gives you a free pedal, whatever their deal is, when they give it to you, they can recoup that back very easily. It's very hard to recoup back when you pay a channel a significant amount of money on something that's not an impulse buy, and hope that in 6 months, they sell enough product for you to make the sponsorship work. But back to JHS and being smart enough to create his own marketing. Not that it doesn't have cost. It's just obviously he has more control of the cost and he has more control of the messaging, which is important because you never know when YouTubers go rogue and do silly things. But that last part is that it used to be this whole idea of let's develop the product and then we'll launch ads in Guitar World. We'll have this signature artist do a thing. We'll make a video and we'll put it out, but right on our website, and we'll make store displays for our dealers. It was just this long process, and you roll it out over months to get everybody to notice it. Now you can launch a product in 24 hours. I'm not saying they do, just saying you can launch a product so fast. You could just mention the product. As you guys know, this ties into me, picking on me. I started Blackstock Pickups. I've talked about the reason why they were started, what led to that, and what ends up happening is we sold so many, it just became all I was doing. And I had to, again, make a choice. Do I want to be a pickup winder and have Shauna and me making pickups and my son making pickups all week for you guys and make YouTube second chair? There was no way to do both for me to do it the way I wanted to do it. And the only thing that's important about that is that, because again, like Josh Scott, I have this platform. So I mention a product and we sell 1,000, and it sounds so great. Like so many pickup manufacturers. I have friends that make pickups. I can name 5 right now that I think are great. Probably better than me. Sold maybe half as many as me in the last 5 years as I did in just 1 year or 2 years. Because again, the hardest thing they have to cover is getting the message out there, and I can just do it on a Friday afternoon. So I think that's what he was basically saying when he made the comment, my friend, about the fact that pedals have become more of a marketing thing. And I think Josh Scott has done it, in my opinion, with the most integrity you can do that. I don't think he puts out something. Look, there's some pedals. I think they're funny. I think the funny names are funny, and I like the idea behind the concept of doing it. But I think JHS has come across it with a value principle to it. Like, hey, let's give somebody a legitimate product instead of lining the used guitar stores with just unsellable used pedals and a reverb, and boat anchors sitting on reverb. These are legitimate pedals, and he's really marketed both ways so that because I think he understands the second part of this. Although my friend is right, you could just sell junk pedals to everyone, and they'll just do it because we're all impulse buyers and we're all guitar freaks, and why we're hanging out on a Friday afternoon talking about this stuff. But I think eventually what catches up to you is those used bins. That's what gets you. That's what kills it for some companies. They can make a lot of junk pedals, but only for so long. Once you realize that there's, 20 different dead pedals out there that no one wants, and that's where I think Josh Scott has been really good at getting the value proposition, but more importantly, keeping the resale proposition going. So very interesting. Searching for Tone says, so you're saying is to pay you for promotion. Actually, I don't want to go into the YouTube side of it too much, but the problem with channels like me, and I would say just because they're friends and dear friends, I don't mind saying, like Tim Pierce, I think the Pedal Show, it falls in this line too. There's a bunch of channels that I'm friends with that I know. I mean, I know a lot of channels, and they all have different business models, and some are really more of a demo channel. Some of them don't make no qualms about that. They literally demo product for companies, and so essentially that company pays them and they make a video. The company pays them, makes a video. There's a lot of channels that are like me where it's a mix. It's like I'm making my own content that's non-sponsored and it goes more viral. It does better for me. It brings in a bigger audience. YouTube pays me a lot more with those dividends. I can make a living on my YouTube side of my channel instead of the sponsor side. I have I tell you guys all the time, about 5% of all my revenue every year is sponsored content because it just makes sense to pull in some sponsors sometimes, especially if it's something I'm trying to get my hands on, or if it's something like, hey, the payout's going to be significant so that I can buy products like, that PV T15 that I bought to make that video. I only say this not to talk about me, but so you guys can really champion channels that are more independent, so you understand what they're going through. My channel, very successful. I did a video of this T15 this week. I hope you guys watched it. It's at 50,000 views. I'm very proud of that. 50,000 views is a lot of views on a product that hasn't been out for 30 years and has no interest to the community. But I thought it was an interesting subject and an interesting video. That guitar and that amp with tax is about almost $500. So if you get $350 for the guitar plus tax, $340 for the guitar plus tax, $100 for the amp plus the tax. That video is currently made and probably will cap out at about $306. So now I'm fine. I have patrons, right? Maybe somebody clicks an affiliate link, but you understand that even a smaller channel would demand almost double what I made on that video just to promote for a company. So that's what I'm saying. Independent content is hard to do. And that's why I just want you to be aware of. So what I'm saying is it's harder for everybody. It's harder for small channels to make money, and it's harder for small builders to, not only because they got to pay these YouTubers, including myself, but then you have a lot of the choice channels that I like that won't even do it for money. You have to bring them something interesting. You know, I will say it over all the time. And keep in mind, I'm not only talking to you, I'm talking to every potential sponsor of my channel. You have to trade me something of value. You either have a product that my audience wants to see, that's a trade. I will borrow it. I will do the video for free. Why? Because you will watch it and it will be a good video. That's great. Or you have to pay me to do the video because the audience won't engage with it as much, and I lose audience, but hopefully from that interaction, I use the funding to make the non-sponsored videos. So if you look at this year, I'm about 50-50 so far. 50% of my videos have been, actually that's not true. 60% of my videos have been unsponsored and 40% have been kind of sponsored. So you get the idea.